really had to come to terms with my own mortality. You know, death sat on the end of my nose, particularly having been diagnosed so long ago. That was very real for me. The story's a little different for people nowadays, you know, with medication, but 22 years ago when I was diagnosed, I did not expect to be sitting here in front of you answering questions. I really didn't expect to be alive. And I think that also forms part of our vulnerability, because we don't take life for granted, because we can't. So when I was diagnosed, I was only 32 and my kids were quite young, and they became the driving force in my life. You know, to live long enough to see my children grow into adults who could look after themselves was just my dream. And along with that came this real desire to create memories, and, you know, to create rich experiences and things that they could look back on, whether that's climbing mountains, swimming in lakes, dancing around the living room in our socks, whatever it was. You know, it was just to really fully engage with life as much as I could, which was a struggle because I suffered terribly with chronic fatigue for many, many, many years. So being a mother has just been, that's the pinnacle for me. And just when they were all growing up and going off, my son rang me one day to tell me that his partner was pregnant, and there was grandchildren on the way, which was a dream beyond a dream for me. So it's always felt like there's been this enormous rope of love that has not only tethered me to the earth, but pulled me forward. And it's really been my kids and my grandchildren that have done that. I've now got 5 grandchildren, so beyond my wildest dreams.
People think I'm really strange because I say actually I feel really lucky that I was diagnosed at the time that I was, that I got the support that I needed in the time that I did, because so many of my peers who were diagnosed around the same time, and we're talking some 20 odd years ago, actually passed away. I remember in the beginning I was going to a funeral almost every other week. I try and just appreciate each day as it comes. But actually I can't, of course I've had my challenges along the way, but actually, you know what, I really feel incredibly lucky to be here today.
I was called by my GP and he said, I'm so sorry, we've got to do this. We have been asked that we should do this to you. Would you like us to resuscitate you when you die? I said, of course, yes. Why would I die? And he went, oh. He himself, the GP, was like, oh, I don't want to ask this question. But to me, I thought, I didn't see anything wrong about that. And I was actually saying, oh, good, you've asked that, because it could come anytime. It doesn't mean that I'm going to die tomorrow.
HIV doesn't mean you're dead. You're alive. Live to your fullest every day, like today is your last day. That's what I do.
I think as long as there is no cure, it's not finished. You need to have a cure and then you say it's finished. It's still there, and people still need to be mindful about how not to spread it, and also to look after themselves if they ever have the condition.
Yes, sometimes it is not only about the management of HIV. It is very often the quality of life that an individual lives after taking HIV medication. There are a lot of very serious side effects depending on individuals, and some individuals go quite a lot of problems, and that affects the quality of their life, even though the HIV itself is contained, but the medication will bring different problems which affects the quality of life of the individual.
I've lived with HIV for knowingly with I think around 22 years now. For the first time in our AIDS history, we are beginning to see the end of AIDS. When the Gideons of this world have lived their natural life and died of old age, not AIDS. See how we come to celebrate and say, oh, AIDS, where is your sting? We celebrate.